So we're going to go through a little bit of history on, the Tahitian Noni. Just to give you a little bit of a background, it's actually a really, really interesting story. When you understand what has gone into this product, it just further reiterates what an amazing product it is. It just the background story, it's not just another fruit juice. It's there's so much more to it, the history behind it, everything. And as you see there, obviously Tahitian Noni, remember that because it's going to come up. Tahitian Noni starts with Tahiti. So there's a lot of aspects, and as we go through it, you're going to see the importance of everything. There we go. So a little bit on the background with regards to the legends associated with it. I'm just going to grab the bottle. Oh, there's a bottle behind me anyway, but it tends to disappear as I move it. But there you go. Ta'aroa, this god, the feathered god with the shell and so on. It's believed that he's obviously, with regards to the Tahitian Noni and the discovery and the development around it, and the god himself, and created the plant from earwax, from his earwax. So there's a lot more behind it and a lot more legend and so on. But we might have all seen the movie Moana, and Maui, the god in the movie, was actually believed to have been wrapped in your noni leaves and brought back to life. Okay, hence why I'm wrapping my head with noni leaves to bring my brain back to life. It's been a long, young day. So hopefully it works, and I'm able to give you, that information and carry that message across. But a little bit of background. So it's got a really traditional tone to it. So we, especially in Africa, we're very familiar with traditional medicine and the importance of tradition and so on. And your Tahitian Noni falls into that sort of category. A lot of tradition behind it. So basically, it's what has been done over the years is the actual finding of this noni, encompassing the tradition of the noni and all of the traditional uses that have, over the centuries, that have been used, this plant has been used for, converting it then into a product that then can be made available to the rest of the world to get those benefits. So that all comes down to John Wadsworth. In the early 1990s, he actually traveled to Tahiti for various reasons and that, but on his journey he discovered this noni juice. And it wasn't just a quick thing, there was a lot of backwards, forwards. No one tells the story better than him, and I know you'll all get that opportunity to hear the story. It's an amazing story, and he tells it with such passion, and how many times he actually wanted just to give up, just to throw in the towel and be like, you know what, this is too dirty, it's not working. And then all these obstacles. The funny thing is around something around mosquitoes. The word itself. Now I'm scratching my leg just talking about mosquitoes. And then went off to go find something, got to this island, and it was the mosquito island. It wasn't what, he was looking for. So it was just this constant language, communication, but eventually got to the point where we're at now. His dedication, work, effort, so on, and that passion. When you hear him tell the story, it's all that passion that went into it. And again, it just further shows what an amazing product this is. There's so much behind it, so much hard work went into bringing this product to fruition and making it available to the world. So, and that was in about 1996, where Tahitian Noni juice was introduced to the world. Now, over that period, so we're looking at over 25 years, 2.5 decades later, more than 120 published scientific studies have already been done. And there's plenty more being done at the moment that just haven't been published yet. So the work is ongoing. The scientific team constantly doing research into this, and new things that are coming out all the time. It's an amazing product you're going to see as we go through. And then just to further go and reiterate what was said earlier about the one product, build your brand on one product. 170 million bottles, more than 170 million bottles to date of this product have been sold. One product, globally. So it just shows you the potential with just this one product. And you'll see a lot of you have probably used the product. The proof is in the pudding. I always say that myself as we go through some of the things. I've noticed it myself using the product. So, just keep that in mind that there's one product, more than 170 million bottles sold worldwide. So the potential is there, grab it and go for it. So what makes Noni fruit so unique? What is it? What is this fruit? So you can see on the bottle, you've probably seen pictures of fruits and so on. It's not a really appealing kind of looking, fruit itself. It's not like a juicy apple or anything like that. But held within this fruit itself, obviously, you got your water. Water makes up majority of everything. Carbohydrates, so your macronutrients. Vitamins and minerals, your micronutrients, so it's dense in all of those. But what makes it so unique are the phytonutrients. So all those phytochemicals, the plant chemicals, the natural chemicals that are held in there. And the key one is the iridoids. So how I try and remember it, so iridoids, it's like this, how do you, that little picture of the Noni fruit that has been put in the presentation there, it kind of looks like the iris of the eye. So iridoids, iris, try and get that. But the iridoids, and we'll go through it now, they make up the uniqueness of the Noni fruit. You can see there certain research that was done comparing Noni to a variety of other fruits. And no other fruit contains iridoids, okay? It's the only fruit that contains I won't say it's the only fruit, but it's the highest content of iridoids, but none of your common fruits, not even acai, has an iridoid content. So you're going to say to yourself, okay, so what makes that so important, the iridoids and so on. It's a powerful antioxidant. We're going to go through all those benefits now and why we focus on that. But back to the Tahitian Noni, remember I said earlier, it's Tahitian from Tahiti is so important. What happened is obviously that's where they've located and said, okay, that's where it originally came from. Obviously with exploring as mankind built ships and decided to go set sail, because of the value of this fruit for the locals, what they did is on the ships, they actually loaded the ships full of it because they knew if they were out at sea for months, weeks, however long, they had sufficient of this fruit to keep them going. It was so powerful, so nutrient dense, it just gave them what they needed. So obviously off they set, and you can see all these islands closer, as they get closer to there's the fruits in all of these. And the further and further away, obviously they planted fruits because they settled there. The fruit was very important and so on. But you can see the Tahitian has the highest content of total iridoids. Okay, so it's important when it comes back down to quality of this product. Okay, that it needs to be, there are other Noni, but are they Tahitian Noni, or what is the content of the iridoids in there? So, in Tahiti, obviously the processing plant. So there's a unique processing plant. You can see there the scale of this plant, the volumes that are done. The fruits are harvested, processed, the raw material extracted to ensure the right quantity of the iridoids. That then is sent off to various manufacturers where the juice and so on is put together, shipped out and stuff. But the actual processing facility, everything happens in Tahiti. Okay, so why iridoids and that? Now, in this processing plant, I'm not going to go to this. The study is just one thing, but based on the studies and this particular one, the power, the antioxidant effect, they discovered that 15.345 milligrams per 30 ml dose of the Noni juice is the optimal iridoid content. Okay. Why is that important? Well, every batch that gets processed then thereafter has to have that content in it. So it's got to have the 15.345 milligrams per 30 mils. If it doesn't, it's rejected, and until that level is obtained. So it's not a case of just picking a bunch of food, processing, boom, it gets sent out, and that. No, in the processing process, in the manufacturing process, let's call it that rather, it sounds better. In the manufacturing process, they actually take it, test it at regular intervals to ensure that that quantity is there. Again, this is vitally important for quality of product. It ensures that you know the product you are selling is what it claims to have, will produce the results you're looking for, gives you those effects, everything that you've done. Okay, so, and that was based on studies that were done. So the efficacy data showed that dose had a powerful antioxidant effect in smokers, with the various tests and so on that they did, the checks and stuff. That was the optimal level. And from that, they then based everything. So you'll see your general dose, 30 mils, is accepted as a general antioxidant. And in various conditions, as they've done research, they've changed and suggested different doses. Sometimes you'll see on the bottle that you say 60 mils, for various things. There have been some studies where people take as much as 90 mils, a day over a period of time. Okay, so there we go. There's a lot of studies. So what I've just gone through is just giving you a background on, the product, the facility, the processing of it, the manufacturing it, the quality behind it. I mean, everything goes in it. So, one thing about the product inside, is quite a bit the packaging itself. When you get the product, it's the glass bottle. Again, further protects the integrity of the product. It's green, it's protected from UV, and that's the tint on the bottle. It's not just a clear bottle. The lid, the seal, everything around the product. It just shows you the effort and everything that's gone. So what you see on the outside and what is inside, you can see from all of the processing that's done, all of the testing, all of that, the quality is assured there. And you're looking at a really phenomenal product. So that's what is put on the table. Now, what does it do? So what makes it so phenomenal? Why am I wearing these leaves around my head? Why did 170 million bottles and counting of this product, why is it being sold? What's so fantastic about it? And that's where the studies that have come in just reiterate. So just to put it, how did they start? So it's that traditionally, again, going back into the, the 1990s where everyone did these things, what happened was they then took these traditional uses. So people said, this works for this works for that, all of these things. And they took those traditional uses and they actually then went and said, okay, hang on, let's start. Let's prove these. Let's see. People are saying this works or this doesn't work or it does this or that. Okay, let's prove it. And that's how they've got to all these. So it wasn't just thumbs ups. It was looking at the traditional uses and then saying, okay, prove it. Let's prove this. And that's where these all come from. So there was just a general study done on the all-round health benefits of Noni. It's very interesting what came out of that. So obviously part of most trials is always a safety data. You get safety from it. And that was shown to be safe. I'll show you again later how even the European Commission granted food safety status to the ingredient based on the studies that were done. We already showed the baseline for the quantity that's going to be in was that antioxidant effect of the iridoids in heavy smokers. Then again, because it's a powerful antioxidant, obviously DNA protection, so anti-aging kind of effect in heavy smokers again. An impact on regulating and controlling raised cholesterol and triglyceride levels, again in heavy smokers. Some of these studies, you'll see that we go from joint health, so a few osteoarthritis, neck, cervical spondylitis, studies that were done to show the improvement there. Energy and endurance in athletes, that I don't want to say that's a given. You think, that would be your first, and wow, that's obvious, but there's studies to show that. The immune boosting properties. Actually, in China actually, based on the studies that were done, granted that as a claim that can be made for the product because of the studies that were done there. The impact on hypertension, high blood pressure. Again, oxidative stress in your heavy smokers. And then just generally quality of life. You'll see we'll go through some of the objective studies that we've done, where they just asked some people and said, hey, what do you feel when you take this, and so on. So in general, quality of life came up tops all the time. Bone density improvements in postmenopausal women, various studies to show that there were improvements in that. Cholesterol we spoke about, and then the increased antioxidant actually in the red blood cells, so in the circulation and so on, that it helps. So antioxidant comes up a lot, you'll see that, and obviously being antioxidants get rid of your free radicals. So they bind to the free radical in the body, the rubbish, the toxin, whatever you want to call it, it comes along, binds to it, neutralizes it. So now it's not a free radical, it's not an active molecule that's causing damage all over the place. It's bound to by an antioxidant, it is now neutralized and passed out the system. It can't cause damage anymore. And that, you'll see, is the core to all of the other benefits. Because there's no more of these free radicals, there's no more damage that can be caused to joints, or no more cholesterol deposits on damaged artery walls, and so on, because you're protecting that, you're neutralizing those free radicals. Yeah, so I spoke about the safety data. Here's this commission, the European EU Commission, that granted food status and safety, issued the report for that. So it's got that, the Chinese approval for the immune system function claim based on things. So all the studies that were done, there's a lot that now has been, the product has been accredited due to all of that groundwork that was done there. So this one I like because this is quite a nice, I just want to move there. This study for me is really nice because it's just a consumer health perception survey. I always like these, give, there you go, 390 people, with untreated chronic health conditions. They were given, the Noni juice. They had to drink half a cup of T&J a day for 90 days, okay? And then they recorded a self-report, so the status at different intervals, at 30, 60, and 90 days of drinking it. So, and then they gathered all that data and put it all together and say, so generally you can see right at the top, general health. I feel better in general, I myself have used the Noni, and I can honestly say, you do, you just feel better, And then it goes all the way through, I feel I bounce back, recovery after workouts, I can honestly say yes, antioxidants, getting rid of those free radicals, so it goes through. When I exercise, I feel like I have more stamina, more energy when using the product. I wake up, I'm ready to start my day. An interesting one is my mood has improved, when using this product. Less pain. Okay, all of these you'll see we're going through, and there's studies that come to it, and all of these again go and almost confirm the traditional use of this product. So before there was, saying people were using this, they were using it to, like I am, to keep my brain alive, wrap my head, focus, my brain is alive. They used it for wounds, for things, and so on, and all of these things now, taking it and processing it, are all coming through in these sort of studies. I feel like I'm stronger, people are saying, fewer headaches. That was actually quite an interesting one, that people are saying, wait, hang on, I've been using this product, and yeah, I have. I've been experiencing fewer headaches. I'm sleeping better at night, so there's so many of these things that came out of these type of surveys. Okay, so the antioxidant clinical trial. So what I'm just going to run through quickly, just so that you get a basic understanding of the depth of studies that were done here. Just to give you look at this product. It's a wellness product. It's a lifestyle product. It will generally improve the health and lifestyle of any individual, but also people who want to be healthy, just to introduce that into your daily routine. And we've seen how simple it is. A simple 30 mils of this juice introduced into your daily routine. I personally, I put it in a glass of water. I just estimated, I'm hoping it's 30 mils, but it could be 60, between 30 and 60, but I pour it in. My children actually started at tot glasses, but it seemed like I was pouring myself like a whiskey at 8 o'clock in the morning, trying measuring these tots out. So I actually just took and, gauged it because it looked a little suspect. But, it's the kind of thing, and every morning, just in a glass of water, stir it up, and it actually makes a really refreshing drink to have in the morning. You can take it as a shot, neat, and so on. I just like to mix it with water, drink it, because I just feel it's just that refreshing. It almost gives me that like wake up that I need, that refreshing feeling that I need. So based on all of those, the general antioxidants, you can see there the impact that it had on increased antioxidant activity inside the red blood cells and plasma. Okay, that was found when they tested the blood, and that was within 1 hour. Okay, so it's an acute effect. It works within 1 hour. It had already increased the antioxidant activity and potential in the blood. So in the red blood cells, it increased that. So, and it's vitally important because your red blood cells is what delivers the oxygen to the cells, to the tissues, to that. So if you've got all of these free radicals and so on hindering that, they bound to the red blood cell, oxygen can't bind, it cannot get carried. So taking the T&J, you kind of eliminate, you remove that from that. Guess what? Oxygen can bind, boom, straight to the cells. And there you go. You can already see how your energy levels will pick up as a result, how your endurance will pick up as a result, how your recovery will pick up, how your sleep improves as a result. All of that from something as simple as this. It's not rocket science. It's just basic principles there and how it works in the system. Yeah. A lot of there's the heavy smokers. So there's quite a few. These are big studies. Okay, so it's not just these little, some of them are pilot studies. So the newer ones are all pilot studies, but everything starts with a pilot study. But when it goes to the next level, you can see 285 people. It's a proper double-blind, placebo-controlled study. Okay, so where they give people and they give people a placebo, and it's double-blind, no one knows. It's a comprehensive study, the results and so on that you get from this. Not that they can't be questioned, anything in science can be questioned, but it's conclusive, the findings. And there it shows that as little as 30 mils, again, remember, this was the one where they based it, that's your 15 milligrams of iridoids per day lowered free radicals significantly, where the placebo, so in the same study, the people on the placebo didn't have the same effect. Okay, so when you compared the Noni to the placebo, the Noni had an effect. Again, just adds more substance to the study and to the efficacy of the product. Again, they're carrying on from that, the DNA protection. Again, 245 people. Again, a double-blind, placebo-blind over a month. And it actually showed that the lipid peroxidation, and improving and protecting the DNA. So DNA shortening of your telomeres and so on, your DNA fiber stimulate, it speeds up aging. We know heavy smokers have a faster rate of aging, So who better to test anti-aging in than a heavy smoker, because they're really speeding up the aging process. So now let's see how you can. And it actually did in the worst possible, let's call it, control group, was able to actually show a slowing down of this breakdown of the DNA and the shortening of the telomeres. Okay, and again, 245 people in that study, so it's a significant study. Again, DNA protection and stuff, another study, 203 people. Again, these studies that I'm showing you now are all published. So they're published in various journals as well. So it's not just someone that's just gone and done, a little bit of study and there you go, I showed it. They've actually been taken by various journals and said, wow, this is quite interesting. We're going to publish this and make these results public. So again, at 30 mils again, lowering the amount of DNA damage by approximately half. Okay, again, in your heavy smokers. So a lot of that reiterating that powerful antioxidant effect of the iridoids. And that's just at 30 mils. That's based on that 15 milligrams of iridoids per dose per day. Okay. Going into other things with we mentioned earlier, cholesterol and regulating cholesterol levels, healthy cholesterol in the body. 132 people in this study. Again, double-blind, placebo-controlled. 1 month already, TNJ significantly reduced cholesterol levels, triglycerides, LDL, and homocysteine. The HDL, your good cholesterol, increased. Okay, the placebo in the study, no effect. Okay, so it just shows the same environment, everything, the impact that the TNJ has on individuals. Okay, so here's some of the pilot studies, and then further studies are being done. I think, if I remember, Brett did say a lot of these studies, there's more research, all of that. He's been in the process of putting everything together and so on. But a pilot study, 2-month pilot study, there's a theory that TNJ can actually increase adaptive immune system activity by 32%. Okay. And the innate, so it's the acute and then the preventative kind of, so the deeper, the first line of defense and then your deeper seated immune system, say it's about 30%. And then again, it links all the time to that oxidative stress. Again, you're removing these toxins from the body, so there's less things to interact with the immune system, with the white blood cells, with all your immunoglobulins and that, they're not there anymore. It's been removed. So now all of these components of the immune system can actually do their job. Okay, here's one for Nigeria, published in the Nigerian Journal of Health and Biomedical Sciences. So there we go, Nigeria. This is the one with the neck. So the neck, stiff necks, the stiff, your cervical spondylosis. 90 people, therapeutic control groups. Okay, so which means they were on treatments and so on. 1 month. And a single serving of TNJ improved that range of motion. So where that neck is all stiff and you got to turn your entire body to look behind you. That kind of the TNJ actually improved range of movement. So that range of movement of the neck and so on, and also reduced pain. So it had that adjuvant effect in the system there. So very effective there on joints. I think the next, there's the osteoarthritis. This one is a slightly higher dose. So 82 patients in this case. And the dose was 90 moles. So a little higher dose than we've been going through now. 3 months. Okay, so what you got to remember with osteoarthritis is it's a degenerative disease. It's not something that happens overnight. It's something that's happened over years generally. It's from that ongoing use of joints. Hands, shoulders in sportsmen, knees, that constant, jarring effect on the joints, and eventually breaks down, and it's a long-term thing. So the same way as it's taken that long to break down, it's going to take longer to reverse and to try and build up again. So that's why in something like this, where it's a degenerative disease, a little higher dose and over a longer period of time. But again, the results there are improvement in symptoms, the pain, mobility. So associated with arthritis, yes, you get the pain, but you get that stiffness. And the TNJ actually helped relieve that stiffness. You'll see a lot of people that have osteoarthritis will sit down nicely on the couch, they're nice and comfortable, ask them to get up, and it's another story. It's like, it can take up to 30 minutes for someone to get out of the couch, so nice and comfy, but don't ask them to get up. And with something like the TNJ, it actually improves that symptom that people have where they're stuck almost in the couch, improves because they're more mobile, less inflammation, improved mobility. So this was that safety study that we spoke about earlier and stuff, that the European Commission granted the health status on. 96 people, 1 month, really high dose. Okay, so look at that dose, 750 mils per day and no side effects. Okay, obviously reduced the number of illness and related events, but it doesn't even cause an upset stomach, to that degree. Obviously, I don't want to say in every single individual. If you're sensitive to things, yes, you're going to, if you're generally sensitive to, if you drink, so orange juice is quite acidic, but if you drink certain, and it causes upset stomach, yeah, there's a chance that it could, but generally it doesn't. I mean, you can see, so from a safety point of view, really safe, even at high doses. So to overdose and to drink a full bottle of this, yeah, it's not going to be, I'm not saying it's going to be even more effective than taking your 30 mils over a period of time, but even if a child had to get it, or someone had to take it and open it and think, I'm going to just down the bottle, down the hatch, they wouldn't wind up, you wouldn't have to rush them off to hospital to have the stomach pumped and so on. It wouldn't cause major side effects in that situation. Okay, here are the exercise ones. So these ones are quite exciting because there's a lot of people obviously active at the moment, a lot of sportsmen, athletes, what are these, what's it there now? Triathlons, all of a sudden blown up. It's really intense, very intense activity, swimming, cycling, running. They're putting a lot of strain on their bodies. So very study with this high endurance and so on. 40 people in this study in a 3-week trial. So it was just a relatively short trial. Endurance increased by 21%. Okay, so that's quite significant for an athlete. Any increase in endurance, even if it's 2%, is like, wow, that was like, 21% is a significant increase. That's 1/5 more endurance. It's that much further that they can go before getting tired. And so, and that again is linked to that antioxidant activity. Remember, when you exercise, what's happening? You're breaking down nutrients, you're breaking down things, your body's metabolizing. Whatever it uses, it breaks down, it's left. So you've got all of these free radicals accumulating in that. The antioxidant activity binding to those, getting them out the system quicker. So obviously, your endurance, remember we spoke about the red blood cells. It's taking those, your red blood cell can now bind to more oxygen, it's more available. The oxygen's there, boom, endurance improves, so you've got all of those impacts. So it's a big factor. The interesting one with this, as you can see, it was the Moscow science there. So in Russia, that a lot of studies have been done on things like your Siberian ginsengs and all of that. So this is done in a similar sort of environment and so on for athletic performance there. Another one with regards to, your recovery and preventing muscle breakdown and so on. 60 people here. So, and it was 43 highly trained athletes, okay, that this was tested on for a month. And it was just that time to fatigue treadmill test, so go, how long can you go and so on. And obviously the increased endurance and decreased serum creatine kinase, okay, which is a marker of muscle damage. So when you exercise, remember I spoke about it earlier, like when you're exercising, you're doing this intense, your muscle breaks down, there's certain chemicals, and that accumulation in the muscles causes damage. Okay, so you want to get rid of that. So you can reduce that, obviously less muscle damage, you can push further, but besides pushing further, your recovery is that much better at the same time. Yeah, more with the oxygen. Okay, this goes to show, again, we spoke about with the red blood cells more available to it. So here we go, the study was done there to take 30 volunteers, 3 different groups, a T&J, a placebo, and then your standard reference group. Okay, within 2 weeks, of T&J, there was already an increased VO2 max. Okay, so your ability to get more oxygen in, improve your lung capacity and so on, but we can see that already. We know that. So oxygen, it's binding more, there's less binding to the red blood cells, it's freed up, more oxygen can bind, it's healthier, we better off in the impact. So it's easy to understand when you see all of these. Okay, so these next two studies are quite interesting with regards to yeah, this is on weight loss, but again, it links to the prevention of these free radicals in the system that cause damage. Okay, your AGE levels, those enzymes that break and build up in the body, that break down. So, glycation, for example, glucose, so sugar and so on. When that breaks down, it becomes this molecule that causes damage, in the system. Age, it's quite appropriately shortened to age because that then stimulates the aging process because you're getting breakdown. You're stimulating the destruction of cells, and breakdown of cells in the body is aging, So if you can reduce that, there we go. So you've now got improved weight loss, increased energy metabolism, and conserved muscle mass, all linked to everything before. This is a big study. This was basically just took a whole huge population group in Japan. You can see there 3,913. It was actually linked to the iridoids, but also its impact on collagen synthesis in the skin and beauty and those sort of effects that it had. And because of that prevention of this glycation and so on of the iridoids, it obviously delays the onset and breakdown of your collagen fibers and the elasticity in a sense, so delayed wrinkle production and so on. So that's just the outward appearance on aging. We know that it's going through. So you can see it was actually measured on a physical appearance in the skin and on a huge scale as well. It's a very interesting study. It's one of the ones that I'm like, fascinated by because of the long-term effects. And obviously in Japan already, I don't want to say there's no aging and so on, but it's led because of the diets and so on. So for it to have had that impact in I want to say, healthier environment also shows the strength and the ability of the product. Okay, these are just a few small things that have just been shown, that can bleeding gums. So, and that finding that individuals that complain with swollen, bleeding gums, sore teeth, sensitive, and so on. The TNJ seems to improve that. Smaller studies. The hypertension study, again, it was just 10 people. It's a small, again, pilot study just to see wow. And they actually found that your dose of TNJ daily actually decreased blood pressure, and especially the systolic, so that top one, the 120/80, that one is normally sometimes 154 when the heart contracts. So taking off that pressure from, the contraction of the heart. But again, pilot study, and it's busy in the background a lot more. It's now triggered the senses of the scientists sitting there, and they're like, well, we got to go further into this. Again, another smaller with the cholesterol and the smoking. 10 people pilot study again, just to see, is this plausible? Does it need more activity? And yes, they're starting to find, of course, it needs more studies, need to go deeper into it to start that. So lowering cholesterol, the bad cholesterol, and seems to improve and raise HDL, your good cholesterol. So it causes that right balance in the body. Type 2 diabetes, again, certain things show that it might also help with regulating fasting blood sugar levels, over a longer period of time, around 8 weeks. This is significant in that not as a treatment or whatever for diabetics, but to bear in mind that it does have an impact on blood sugar levels. So diabetics that do use the product should monitor their blood sugar levels all the time. So if they're on medication and so on, they need to make sure they track it, because if they use this with their blood, it could potentially drop it. And if they're not monitoring it, they're lightheadedness and those sort of symptoms. So just be aware of that as well, and then these were those consumers that we went through. So generally bigger study, this was on 1,712 people. It was in Hamburg, Germany. So European consumers. And generally, there we go. So more energy, better overall feeling, people said, reduction of peripheral pain. So it also goes in with, remember we spoke about migraines earlier, and so on, that individuals were saying that it saw an improvement in migraines and headache. Fewer infections ties in with the immune system, improved sleep comes up again. Fewer problems with digestion and stomach. Now, a few people I've personally and that have actually mentioned that to me, and that was strange for me because it's not a laxative but it regulates bowel function. You know, I've seen it in individuals, and it came up in some of these surveys that were done. And then interesting, fewer allergies and asthma as well. You know, that people were reporting. So that incidence of allergies and asthma, which was very interesting as well. But again, makes sense because there's less free radicals. Those iridoids are binding to those free radicals. So those free radicals that are causing the inflammation, they're causing those symptoms, the allergy, the reaction, the asthma, and so on. So the less of those you have, you will naturally reduce the incidence of these things. Okay, so, I mean, there goes. Pretty much goes to say you're still the one good thing, you know, and that's the byline, you know, the Tehitian Noni, here we go, you know, and it's all around that type of product that everyone should actually just introduce into their daily routine. You know, I do it, like I say, I pour it into a glass of water every morning and drink it as a refreshing juice. You know, if you don't want to go that route, pour it into your top glass, take your shot, you know, however. But the benefits of just that 30 mils you can see, you know, and you feel it. I'm always one to kind of be like, you know, question this is question, you know, it's like we all do. But the proof's in the pudding again, I have to say. It definitely, you feel that impact. I have, you know, and I know 170 million bottles and more and selling, you know, would suggest that a lot more other people have experienced similar kind of effects. And I'm sure people on the call here as well have plenty testimonials on the effects that it's had in their lives, on the lives of loved ones and other people. So, again, you know, like still the one. Focus again on the one there, Craig, you know, so that one product, you know, do you need more than that to build? When you look at what this can do, it is the ideal starting block. It's the ideal product to start, build that foundation of good health. Because once you've got that foundation of good health, whatever you add on to that will just benefit. Your diet, you know, your digestion, the absorption of nutrients is benefit. Your exercise, your level of activity, we've shown there, that improves. So you've got better activity, your better recovery, your performance is just that much better. So all around, you know, type of product that is the best starting point on your journey of a healthy lifestyle, you know.